Good morning, church family. I hope you're doing well as this video finds you on this Monday morning. It was so good to see everyone yesterday at church on Father's Day. Once again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And if you didn't get a chance to wish someone a happy Father's Day, you may be a day late, but I still want to encourage you to call them up. Let them know you love them and you appreciate the fathers in your life. But today, we are continuing with our reading, and we've just finished up Jeremiah and Ezekiel, and today we are starting the book of Daniel. We're going to be in the book of Daniel for the next little while, and it kind of plays off of exactly where we've been. And today, our reading is Daniel chapter 1. If you look at our reading list, the title of today's reading is Daniel in Babylon, but really the purpose of Daniel 1 for us today is to kind of see the setting of what's to come in the book of Daniel. It kind of gives us the time and place and the who. And so as we read today, as you start Daniel 1, it says, "In the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with some of the vessels of the house of God." Now, if you remember, what we've been reading, we saw in the book of Jeremiah that the people of Judah had been captured by Babylon, and that God was speaking through Jeremiah to his people, and Jeremiah was preaching before them and telling them great words from God. And this is the same instance that we're talking about here. And so it all goes together, what we've been talking about. This is the same time frame that's going on. And we go on to learn that Daniel was one of the captives who was taken to Babylon. And so we see here in verse 2, the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar. If you remember, we talked about that all of this was under God's control, that he was not surprised, and that he had a plan, and he was going to use this for the good of his people. And that's what we see going on here in Daniel. And so Daniel was one of these captives who was taken. He's in Babylon under King Nebuchadnezzar here. And the first half of this, we just see kind of about the living conditions that they had while they were there, and the food that they ate, and that they would be educated, and kind of who the people were. But then in the second half of Daniel chapter 1, we see the faithfulness of Daniel. It says that Daniel, he refused to defile himself with the king's food and the king's drink, and he even shows them that by eating just vegetables that he's not going to grow weary and sick, but that he's going to be strong. And it says that the Lord gave Daniel favor and compassion in the sight of those who were in control of him. And so we see, just starting off in Daniel 1, but we're going to see throughout the book, that God's hand and God's favor is upon the life of Daniel. And so we're going to go on to see God use Daniel to do a lot of awesome things, and we're going to see him use Daniel while they're in captivity. And then Daniel 1 ends by saying, "And Daniel was there until the first year of King Cyrus." And we know that in 539, King Cyrus took over the rule there, and King Cyrus actually freed the Israelites in the first 2 years of his reign. And so right here we've established that this Daniel had favor with God. He had compassion in the eyes of God, and that he was taken captive in Babylon, just as we've been reading about for the past few weeks, and he's going to be held captive there until Cyrus comes and frees them, as we know he did. And so just an idea about Daniel today, that he was faithful. That when he was faithful, God used him. And that's something that we can learn, that if we are faithful to God, that if we obey him, if we walk with him, he will bless us, and his hand and his favor will be upon us. And so I know today's really just kind of about setting up everything else, but let's remember to be faithful as we walk with our God and as we read Daniel chapter 1 today. So know that I love you, know that I'm praying for you, and I'll see you here tomorrow morning.